So this, believe it or not, is the stuff that I like to get. Now, somebody messed this up. They custom painted it. A very strange paint scheme, which I don't think this exists. Union Pacific red. So, at any rate, it's going to be a lot of fun to fix. So that's the bad news. The bad news is it's gotta be repainted. Also, it's been dropped. I'll be doing a still picture, which is higher resolution. But I don't know if you can see, there's a crack here going to up here, so it's been dropped. So I'll be painting this for Penn Central, which in the flat black paint will hide everything. The other good news is it's the new drive. The new drive system. So these actually same way as the old drive. You have to put toothpicks on the sides. They're held together by the porthole windows. So I'm going to remove the shell in just a second. So I also took a second to remove the front coupler. And when you're doing this, gravity is your friend. So you use gravity as well as your hands. With your 4 toothpicks in place, makes it real easy to remove the cab. Oh, this is the old style. Well, that's fine. These actually run very smooth. They're very easy to work on. But the hardest part of this is going to be the shell. So this has to go into the paint remover. I use brake fluid, which is maybe not ideal, but that's what I've been using for years and I'm used to that. The windows actually look fine. So I'm going to take out the windows and the horns. Everything looks fine, so I don't need to put them in the brake fluid. So I'm going to do that, and then once the paint is off, I'll come back. So this is why I looked so surprised. This is the new drive system. So it has number boards that light up. And also, the trucks have an arrow that shows you which direction you should install them in the locomotive. That arrow is a nice help. So this is the new drive. And this is the old drive, which looks completely different underneath. And it also has molded on number boards which don't light up. In fact, if you get a factory paint, it won't even have the number boards with numbers. That's a custom paint that I did. So that's what I got with my locomotive. The new body shelf on the old drive. But here's why I look so surprised. It's because he's got the new style trucks on there with the arrow. And he's actually had to modify the contact strips. And I had put this on the track, and it runs very well actually. So I might not even have to touch it. I might go in there and take a look for my own personal satisfaction. But it runs great. Nice. So I took it apart just for a quick peek. And it turns out the trucks just fit right in there. What he's had to do, he's had to bend the contact strips over here to make them sit on the frame, and that brings electricity to the frame halves, and it works great. Surprise. Nice. Now I remove the paint and it becomes evident how bad the shell is. It's in very bad shape. There's even cracks through the windows. So I'm gonna use some crazy glue to repair that. And like I said before, once it's painted flat black, probably won't be as objectionable. I'm going to put the glue on the inside to save as much detail as possible, but at the end it should look okay. So I glued everything back together, and now we're ready to paint. So my shell came back from painting. It looks pretty good, and it's still a little bit tacky, so it's the right time to put on the decals. This side looks good, and as you can see, it's an F3, and by the time Penn Central came around, all the F3s were worn out, so they only had F7s. But I'm going to paint it Penn Central anyway. I'm going to do a F unit with a red P. Also, Penn Central, they had only one headlight. This would have been probably a Northern Pacific unit. But I'm going to paint it with a red P. Only a handful of units came out with the red P. So this would have been one of them. I'm going to do number 1707. So I'm going to get my decals out. Now my decals are done. The number board is still messed up a little bit, but it's a little bit less objectionable. And then we're going to go for dull coat, which will make it even less objectionable. The red P is actually a very rare locomotive. You'd probably have one on your layout. And also, the red paint they used faded rather quickly. After 4 or 5 years, they were just white. So you can run this at the beginning of Penn Central, but by the time Conrail take over, there were no more red P's. So I'm going to put on my dull coat. So my dull coat's done, and now I'm ready to put everything back together. So I'm going to get to work on that. And now it's time to run some trains. So I hope this video was enjoyable for you. See you soon.